All right, institutions of national government, Unit 4, Video 10, the office of El Presidente. All right, so we got the vice president. The reason that he is picked to be vice president, whether it's Joe Biden, Dick Cheney, Sarah Palin as a running mate, Paul Ryan from Mitt Romney last time, they're selected to balance the ticket, meaning that they're trying to help them get elected. That is their role. They're not picking somebody who's just like them, who believes everything they do. They're picking somebody usually who gives them strengths in areas that they are weak. So Obama, young, not much experience, so he picks Joe Biden. He's old, lots of foreign policy experience. He's been a senator for 30 years, so he balanced the ticket. The VP only has one job according to the Constitution, that is to be the president of the Senate and to cast tie-breaking votes. So if there is a tie in the Senate, they get to cast the tie-breaking vote. Dick Cheney actually had the privilege to cast several hundred tie-breaking votes because the Senate was 50-50 in Bush's first term, so he had an important job. By and large, though, VPs do not have very much power. They have as much, or more likely, as little power as the president gives him. Dick Cheney was pretty powerful. Bush let him do a lot of things. There are some people who would allege that Dick Cheney was really running things. Joe Biden, on the other hand, not so much power. They're kind of afraid that Joe Biden's going to say something he shouldn't say, so he doesn't have very much power. So it's up to the president. There's no constitutional powers other than breaking the tie in the Senate. All right, the president also has a cabinet, and you can see a picture of Obama meeting with his cabinet and some of their top advisors. The cabinet refers to the heads of the 15 major executive departments, which we'll discuss that a little bit more in the bureaucracy section. But the idea here is we have a lot of departments such as the State Department and Defense Department, Education Department, Homeland Security, Agriculture, etc., Department of the Interior. We have a whole bunch of different departments, and the cabinets, they are the leaders, the heads of those various departments. Sorry, I just got texted a Breaking Bad meme, so I got distracted for a little bit. You gotta love that Better Call Saul guy. He's the best. Anyway, members of the cabinet, it requires Senate confirmation, so the president does not have total freedom in picking his cabinet. He can pick the person, he nominates them, but they are subject to Senate confirmation. So the Senate can stop a presidential nomination for his cabinet. However, when it comes to firing them, the Congress, the Senate has no power over them in that regard. They can only be removed or fired by the president, but he can fire them at any time that he wants. The phrase in the Constitution is that they serve at the will of the president. And one of the problems for the president when it comes to his cabinet is that cabinet secretaries often represent the interests of their department more than they represent the president, meaning that when John Kerry comes to Obama, he is representing the State Department. So rather than John Kerry being like, hey, Mr. President, what can I do for you guys? What can the State Department do to help you? He comes to the president and is basically like, Mr. President, the State Department needs you to do this for us. So that creates a little tension sometimes between the president and his cabinet, because a lot of times they care about their personal department more than they care about what the president wants at times. All right, there you go. Great meme there. If you watch Lord of the Rings and Mean Girls, then you get it. If not, then you're probably really confused, but that's an awesome meme. I don't care what you say. All right, we also have the Executive Office of the President. These are heads of agencies that report directly to the president. For instance, the head of the CIA or the Office of Management and Budget, and this too requires Senate confirmation. So the president nominates somebody and they get that job. And lastly, we have the White House office and staff. This is probably the most important one for the president. These are his closest aides and assistants, and they actually work directly in the White House. So they have offices in the White House with the president. They do not require Senate confirmation, so the president can choose anybody to be his chief of staff or his foreign policy or domestic policy directors, or his campaign, his speechwriters, I should say, his communications director. All of those are positions. They do not require Senate confirmation. He picks people who are personally loyal to him. These are often people that he has worked with in the past quite a bit. people that helped him when he was maybe a senator or a governor previously, helped him run for president, and they usually get rewarded with jobs working in his staff. So personal loyalty to the president is key. All right, now ways for the president to organize his White House office and staff. 3 different ways. One is a pyramid structure. This is the most organized. It's where he has basically a hierarchy where everybody knows who they report to. You report to the person above you, and ultimately the chief of staff is the highest person in the White House staff, and then that person reports to the president. So it's very, very organized. However, it could lead to the president being misinformed if the chief of staff doesn't tell him everything he needs to know. But that is usually seen as being a very effective way to run your White House. Circular structure, this is when the cabinet and the staff report directly to the president. The good thing here is that the president is very informed. The problem is that he's getting reports from everybody, so he's getting too much information almost. It can lead to confusion because perhaps he says one thing to the Department of State and another thing to the Department of Defense, or he says one thing to his communications director but another thing to his director of domestic policy, so it can lead to some confusion. And lastly, we have ad hoc structure. This is when the staff meets informally with the president, so it's very disorganized, but it provides flexibility, allows ideas to be freely generated. Bill Clinton was famous for using the ad hoc structure. He'd be walking through the halls of the White House, and he'd meet people in there, part of his staff, and they would be able to pitch him on ideas and tell him what they wanted. So it generates ideas, but it's not organized at all. And that's a random picture I found when I Google image search Bill Clinton. That popped up. So I guess that's Bill and Hillary way back in like the 70s or something. Weird. They look like actual people. All right. See you next time, guys.